What's up guys, Anders here with another video. Today we're going to go over the update for Black Desert test servers. Remember, global lab test server updates usually take 1 to 2 weeks to appear on our live servers, assuming there are no delays and changes. So all the test server information and updates should come next week for us outside of Korea. Now the class rework stuff obviously is going to be a little bit longer than that, probably take 2 to 3 weeks before we actually see an announcement of when the reboots will go live. I expect them to go live in December. Now in terms of changes, last week we had over 100 tooltip changes, which was insane. This week we had less, but a lot of changes to passives. We got some information that all 17 rebooted classes are going to get new facial presets. So we saw the Musa one and the Maehwa one. They look really good. And we're also going to get new hairstyles for them and new skin textures. So if you're into customizing your character, that's huge news for you. And for me, I think it's amazing. In terms of actual class changes, we saw some changes to the way ignore resist works. So ignore resist now is 80%, as we saw from last week. I talked about how the ignore resistance and resistance is going to be changing for PvP. Basically just going to allow you to have more resistance stacking or more ignore resist stacking as well. Overall, I think it's a good change in the grand scheme of things. If you were one that didn't like resistance in general, I agree with you, I understand, but I don't think resistance is ever going away. That random factor seems to be staying. So unfortunately, the best thing we can do right now is be happy that at least we're getting this kind of change for 80% being the cap now instead of 60% for PvP. There's also another change to the guard gauge of blocking. So once you have your guard gauge drop down to 0, it will be destroyed and you will not be able to recover it for some time, and you won't even be able to use S block while moving backwards. So that's an important change. You also can no longer use your Q block skills, so your guard skills will no longer be working. Your frontal guard skills will still be working, just that your Q block skills, usually for the classes that did have Q block, you will not be able to use those skills. And they also changed the block for Warrior Awakening and Valkyrie Awakening. It is now stronger. This was not a good change to read, honestly, if you were a class without a grav, but they did do some changes later on I'll talk about. It seems like the Corsair guard gauge mechanic, which I said, you know, why don't you just give that to classes without grab? Well, it looks like they're gonna start doing that. Before I get into that though, the passives have changed. Overall, there is now just one passive tree. Before we used to have about 2, plus an additional one for succession. The succession one still stays the same, but the original main ones are now linked together into one skill tree with 20 levels, and the last level is at level 60. However, all classes also have an additional passive at level 63 that is special attack damage plus 2%. That is for all classes, so that's a good change, keeping the relevance of getting to level 63 at least, and also having it be pretty good. Some classes you get to 63, you don't really get that good of a passive. You get maybe DP plus 2. Some other classes get accuracy plus 2%, which is a lot better. Very interesting changes there. Overall, it seems like Warrior, for example, is sharing passives with Valkyrie and Nova, so they all get defense or DP plus 20 and 300 HP. Sorceress gets evasion plus 10% and stamina plus 150. Now these are numbers, by the way. I should say that this is at level 20 of your passive, this is where you're getting overall. Not every single level is going to give you this, so it'll be broken. For a Sork, you're getting evasion plus 10% and stamina plus 150. Rangers, you're getting 6 AP and 300 stamina. Berserkers are getting 20 DP and 20% crit rate. Tamers are getting 5% accuracy and 150 stamina. Musa and Maehwa are sharing passives, so 12 AP and 150 stamina. Ninja and Kuno are also sharing passives, so 12 AP and 10% evasion. Witch and Wizard have the 10% cast speed and 12 AP. Dark Knight has 5% accuracy and 10% critical damage, which is really nice. Striker Mystic 20 DP and 20% crit rate. Lahn gets 5% accuracy and 10% attack speed. Archer gets 20 AP and 5% accuracy. Guardian gets 12 AP and 10% critical damage. Hashashin gets 12 AP and 10% evasion. Sage gets 5% accuracy and 10% casting speed. And finally, Corsair gets 12 AP and 10% evasion. So not bad. Overall, I think for the most part, you should be pretty happy with what you got. They all look pretty decent, to be honest. And the additional level 63 skill, 2% more special attack damage, is really nice as well. Now, apart from that, there were some skill changes. Overall, we saw primarily buffs to damage, nothing truly crazy. There were some changes to, for example, Musa and Maehwa that were pretty significant. So the chase, their dash skill, is now affected again, as in live, to movement speed buff and debuff, so you can be slowed again on chase. At least you get a movement speed buff as well. The reason for this is because now you also have guard gauge reduction added to some skills. So Musa Succession, originally I thought it was just Rising Storm, but it's Rising Storm and Gale that get the guard reduction. Crush Crusher and the below the belt skill for the Musa Awakening gets the guard gauge reduction effect. And for Maehwa, the Red Moon skill and the Red Moon skill in succession as well, and the Petal Bloom skill all get guard gauge reduction. Now, the weird thing about it is that it's 10% guard gauge reduction on the first hit. It's not an impressive amount if you look at Corsair Succession, for example, but at least it's on multiple skills, so you can use that. On the Red Moon, specifically for Maehwa, you have the ability now to cast Red Moon pretty quickly. Petal Bloom casts faster now as well. There are ways for you to get through shield now. I don't think it's as powerful as I thought it was going to be, especially with the one hit. And also for some of these skills, it's for one target only. So if you're looking at group fights, you're not going to be able to just say Petal Bloom into a crowd and deal 10% frontal guard damage to all of them. That's not how it works. There are other classes that also received a guard gauge reduction. So Dark Knight is one of them. They received guard gauge reduction on the airstrike in succession. Now this one specifically is 20%, and there is no limit to how many targets can be affected. So that's interesting. With the airstrike changes recently, that's pretty good. Not gonna lie. They also received slanted balance frontal guard back on that skill. It maintains, I believe, the range as well that they got from last week. So not bad. They also have a new skill called Flow Dark Spread, and that's a frontal guard on a backwards motion and a float CC from the bombardment skill and Awakening. And Lahn was the final class to also get guard gauge this week. So guard gauge reduction has been added to Blade Dance, and I believe it's 10% on any target that you hit. So there is no target limit like it is on Musa and Maehwa for some reason. And the final highlights I wanted to talk about was Striker and Mystic. So Striker and Mystic, they received Ignore, Grapple, Resist plus 30% passive in addition to their current passives. They still have that 10% evasion passive on top of their new passive that they have, and now they have Ignore, Grapple, Resist passive as well. So this is the same thing that Berserker has, the same thing that Warrior has. I wasn't expecting them to get that, but I kind of understand. I think it's a logical change, but I don't think it's going to be one that's popular. That's my opinion. So apart from the class changes and the passive changes, we also had some changes to other parts of the game. So the church buff, which you usually used before you went to war for the most part, you used to have to hand in 5 1G gold bars and then roll the dice to see if you got AP plus 8 and accuracy plus 8. Sometimes you got AP plus 8 and then accuracy plus 3. It was not a good time. Every time before you went to war, you had to do this, and it was really just very annoying. So now it's going to be a 2-hour buff. It's going to cost you 3 10G gold bars, so 3 mil, so it's going to cost you more. But every time you go for the attack buff, you're going to get AP plus 8, accuracy plus 8. If you go for defense, you're going to get DR plus 8. And HP plus 150, and the experience is combat XP plus 15% and skill XP plus 15%, which is not bad, but I don't think most people go for XP. It's mostly attack and defense that you care about, and now you get the maximum amount of bonus for 2 hours for a little bit more money. So I think it's an amazing change. That should have been part of the game a long time ago. RNG and buffs before war, not fun, so I'm glad it's gone. There's also Manor craftable and purchasable items that were added. So for me, the big one is Cypress Trees. I've been waiting for Cypress Trees, man, for a while. I'm glad that's coming. So we have to probably wait 2 weeks for that one. It's going to be 3 mil each. And if you don't know, if you want to buy trees for your manor, you go to Trent and talk to that furniture dealer, and he'll sell you some trees. There's also large wall partitions, so basically dividers for your house. It's something that was asked for a lot. I think it made sense. We saw that in one of the promo pictures, I believe, so we kind of knew it was coming, and that's going to be added. You can go to Port Eferia and buy that there. There's also a summon scroll change for the Ibedor scroll. So we had the ancient relic change. Now the Ibedor scroll is getting the same bulk summoning system like the ancient relic, which is great. Olun's Valley got Caphras buff, so now it drops more Caphras on each part you're doing. The Akhman, Histria, and Kartuga zones also now are more Agris efficient, so if you want to grind there with Agris, it's now more worth doing. And the Guild Alliance cap is now 150, so if you want to build an alliance of different guilds, it can go up to 150 members instead of the previous 100 cap. However, if you want to go to war, you can't take 150 members, you are still capped. And that's pretty much the test server update in a nutshell. What do you guys think about the guard gauge reduction added on Musa, Maehwa, DK, and Lahn? Do you think it's enough? Do you want to see more of an effective, maybe 20%, 30% guard gauge on single target like Musa, Maehwa have the single target? Do you want that single target thing to go away for Musa, Maehwa? Let me know in the comments. And that's pretty much it for this one, guys. Let me know what you guys think about today's video in the comments or over on our community Discord. We're now public and accepting new members, so follow that link, react to the comments to get your member role, and say hello. If you want to support the videos I make in small donations, you can follow the Ko-fi link below and buy me a cup of coffee. I love coffee as much as I love Bell, so every coffee you buy me will be greatly appreciated and will of course come with some Discord perks. Remember to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that bell icon to get notified when I upload my next video. Remember, Bell is good. As always, guys, thanks again for watching. Thanks for listening. I'll see you all in the next one. Take care.